Good morning, I'm Chris Cooper from Catalyst Fitness. This is how we do our programming. This is where our workouts come from. We start with the desire to change people, and that means we have to consider the effect that a particular exercise, clustered with other exercises, put together into a workout, is going to affect you. So here's how we start. Back in 1936, Hans Selye developed his general adaptation syndrome. And he described how an organism changes through exposure to stress and then the removal of stress. So, given any stimulus or stress, an organism goes into decline. Okay, so here's an organism, any organism. It could be you, it could be an amoeba, puttering along in its current state. You expose it to stress, and it goes into a state of decline. So if we're talking about resistance training, after your first workout, your muscle's going to feel a little bit weaker. Then as it adapts to stress though, we get this period of supercompensation. Okay. What's required to trigger supercompensation is the removal of the stress. So the next time the same stress is added, the period of decline is less, and then when you have rest, supercompensation occurs more quickly. Okay? And there is a law of diminishing returns given the same stimulus over time here, but what's important is to target this. And that means the appropriate rest to work ratios. It's not just important to give you enough stimulus for change, we also have to balance that with appropriate rest. Right? So all of our programming revolves around giving you enough stimulus to cause a decline and enough rest to supercompensate. Luckily, that doesn't mean that we have to work out for one day and then take 2 other days off. What it means is that we can alternate metabolic workouts with central nervous system workouts, okay, with more aerobic, more anaerobic workouts, and we can be in a state of flux all the time. So as one system is recovering, and different systems recover at different speeds, another system can be the predominant force of energy to work out. Early on, so after Selye adopted this model, immediately sports coaches recognized the benefit of work to rest ratios. And so we entered a period of about 40 years, between mid-40s and mid-80s, where a lot of large sporting nations started fooling with the concept of periodization. Periodization looks to capitalize on general adaptation syndrome by alternating periods of hard work with periods of rest. So in a linear model, you'd have a week of easy work, a week of medium work, a week of hard work, and then a week of easy work again, and then gradually building back up to the point where the level of work achieved on the hard weeks kept rising. Okay? So over time, the easy weeks are harder than the old easy weeks used to be. The hard weeks are much, much, much harder. So we're building physical capacity, and then we're also building specific capacity to the sport. This was also, we call this a macro cycle because it spans a whole year. Each one of these would be a mesocycle, and each workout within this week would be a microcycle. Across this whole year, we found it beneficial, or sports scientists, to also alternate the intensity and the duration and the type of exercises that were done. So typically, by the time this all shook out, late 70s, early 80s, when the USSR was really mastering this thing because they had such a controlled environment, they could control every aspect of an athlete's life. The way they were doing linear periodization was a GPP phase, Okay, so again, low, medium, high, and just building a base of fitness, followed by maybe a maximal strength phase, low, medium, high, followed by a power phase, okay, and then a specific, sport-specific work phase, okay? How does this relate to you if you're just trying to lose weight? You'll see. If you're trying to encourage athletic development, the benefits of this are probably starting to become clear at all. Toward the late 70s and early 80s, some sports scientists started to think maybe there was a better way, because with a linear model, you go through all these steps, and let's say that it takes a year, you don't know if the program has worked until the year is up and you're into a testing phase or the sports season, okay? So, some scientists started to fool with what we would call a conjugate model. So if this is a linear model, one step at a time, a conjugate blends those steps together. Okay. So a conjugate model wouldn't have a long macrocycle. The macrocycle might be the week, okay? And you would work one day on GPP, General Physical Preparation. CrossFit is a GPP program. We want you to lose weight, we want you to increase aerobic capacity, anaerobic capacity, strength, all the bases of fitness, okay? You spend another day working on maximal strength. You spend a third day working on power, and then you go back to GPP again, okay? Early in the season, that might literally be your week. Later on, you'd work on maybe maintaining maximal strength, maybe maintaining power, and then 2 days of sport-specific training, okay? So this would be your sport. And you'd rotate through that every week, hoping that gradually all of these levels go up. This is where Westside basically built their program, and that's relevant to us because we follow almost a Westside template, but everything that we do is GPP. So GPP is General Physical Preparedness, and this means fitness. How ready are you? SPP, specific, okay? So if we were talking about a baseball player, in a linear model, they would spend the first part of the off season playing other games, getting fit, doing CrossFit. As we got closer to the season, they would spend less time doing that, more time developing specific skills. If you look at training a child over a lifetime, you could also look at this model spread out over many years, where the first several years are spent developing general physical preparedness, learning how to do squats and push-ups and running around and tumbling, developing your vestibular system, okay? In North America, when we spread this out over a lifetime to start developing children towards athleticism, we call that long-term athletic development, and you can Google the LTAD model. Okay, and what you'll see is a long linear macrocycle. This was the conjugated method was first popularized in North America, or most greatly popularized by Louis Simmons of Westside Barbell. Okay? In fact, without Louis, a lot of people wouldn't know what the heck I was talking about if I said periodization. So what Louis said was, in the training of powerlifters, we can take a conjugated system, break it down into 4 training days a week, and train people specifically for that sport, okay? Now, powerlifting doesn't have a big GPP requirement. You have to be able to survive 1 day of heavy lifts. So there is a base amount of fitness. But what they're talking about is the ability to recover between maximal lifts, given about 20 minutes to a half hour between each. And in a typical powerlifting meet, that's how much rest time you have, okay? So their base level of fitness by CrossFit standards is not that high. By their standards, it's all they need. And they don't want to take fitness, to a maximal level because they have to be big. They can't be lean. They just won't be as effective. They need the counter leverage, okay? So, conjugate model. In a given week, under Louis Simmons' classic conjugate West Side model, you're going to have a maximal strength day. Okay, usually lower body, that's going to be a maximal squat. The reason he starts the week with that is because typically Sunday's a rest day. You're going to have another maximal strength day. Okay, that might be upper body. And you're going to have a rest day. Okay, there might be a little bit of GPP going on there. If you visit Westside Barbell in Columbus, Ohio now, you'll see that on their rest days, the guys come in and move. They're not really doing much mobility work. They might be doing some bodybuilding exercises to bring up weak links. They might be pulling a sled really slowly. They might be walking with a lot of weight in a wheelbarrow. Really basic stuff. They elevate their heart rate. They're trying to clear out metabolic waste. That's about it. Okay. Then what you've got is a power day. Okay? And so usually this would be like speed squat for a power lifter. You may have a rest day after that, and then another power day. Okay, and so this would be upper body. And Louis would have called this max effort lower, max effort upper, dynamic effort lower, dynamic effort upper. Okay, and in between there might be an accessory day where you're just working on weak links, or there might be another rest day depending on your level. Okay. He also introduced the repetition method, which kind of waves its way through here. And so when Louis talks about the repetition method, he's talking about doing like 30 consecutive reps at a reverse hyper for 4 sets. Their conditioning work does not look like CrossFit, but it is tough. Squatting down with a 100-pound medicine ball, standing up and doing a high knee walk with a chained belt around you to provide resistance. And walking for 30 seconds. This is the type of GPP that a powerlifter needs. That's not what we need, but we can still fit this model. The classic CrossFit model for work to rest was 3 days on and 1 day off. Okay, so you saw on the West Side model here that they had 2 days on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off, back to 2 days again. That's because the central nervous system, which is the predominant system in powerlifting, takes more rest than your muscle does. So, a CrossFit workout, if you follow CrossFit.com, is going to go day 1, day 2, day 3, rest. Okay? Day 1, day 2, day 3, rest. For practical application though, not everybody can meet that schedule. So most CrossFit gyms, including mine, Catalyst, are going to stay open 7 days a week, and we're going to prescribe a workout every day. So how do we make sure that we're meeting that model still? Here's the way we do our program. Like Louis, we start with a heavy lower body lift on Monday. That could be a heavy squat. That could be a heavy deadlift. We would typically favor the slow lifts, okay, over an Olympic lift on those days. We're developing strength. On Tuesday, we feature some kind of upper body strength. Okay, that could be any overhead press variation, could be any kind of weighted pull-up, could be any kind of bench press, okay. On Wednesday, our workouts are primarily aerobic. This is where we feature a lot of the CrossFit classic workouts, the baseline WODs, the girl WODs, hero WODs. We're looking at something 30 to 45 minutes and some extra mobility work. We're trying to keep people in a highly aerobic state, kind of bordering on anaerobic work. And so we're raising work capacity on those days. Thursday, we're going to have what we call a power day, where we work on a fast lift. So where Louis would use dynamic squatting or dynamic pulls, so speed pulls, we're trying to improve rate of force development through the incorporation of Olympic lifts. So we would have a heavy clean on that day, okay? Or we would do maybe a heavy snatch. Friday, just as tough, but a more technical lift with lighter weight but higher speed. So we're generating the same amount of force. Force equals mass times acceleration, where the mass is greater on this day and the acceleration is greater on this day. Okay? So we've got two workouts that are highly dependent on the central nervous system. And then on Saturday, we just have like a team partner workout. It's less technical, mostly aerobic. You're going to be limited by your work capacity. So where I've listed high and low here, I'm talking about high intensity of weightlifting. I'm not talking about high workload yet. If we want to talk about high workload, which is total output over the workout, now we start to wave in that work, okay? So on days when the demands on our central nervous system are really high, we're going to have a slightly lower work output. On days when the demands on our central nervous system are low, so our CNS is resting, we're going to have a much greater work output. Again, high CNS demand, lower work output. Low CNS demand, higher work output. Okay. How does this break down into our actual programming? We are very specific with our time at Catalyst. If you want to be efficient at something, you have to measure it and tweak it to become more efficient. So when we say that an hour spent at Catalyst is as good as a week in the gym, your Globo gym, what we mean is that you're going to do all of your strength work. We're going to put you on a clock. That's going to minimize CNS recovery and maximize CNS fatigue. Then we're going to move into metabolic pathway, okay? General physical preparedness means that you can't just be strong. You can't specialize. So we want to put our strongest athletes through the same anaerobic intensity, high intensity interval training, aerobic capacity workouts as our runners. So we start with this. We start with a general motor warm-up. We're trying to do a couple things here. We're trying to get your muscles warm so that your joints are more flexible. You can achieve your full range of motion in all planes. We're trying to increase aerobic capacity. So red blood cells dilate, they can carry more oxygen on their surface area, and you're ready for an aerobic workout later, okay? We're trying to prime your central nervous system. We're trying to remove inhibition so that when it's go time, your hamstrings can completely fire without the emergency brake being on, okay? That's the role of our general motor warm-up, and that's going to segue into skill work. One of the best things that CrossFit has done for exercisers around the world is introduce them to the concept of learning. That when you're 30 years old, it's not too late to start learning new physical things, okay? This, I've never been athletic, or I've never been good at somersaults. That doesn't count anymore. It doesn't exist. You are not naturally gifted at double unders. Nobody is. We did not evolve to get more skilled at wall balls, okay, or handstand push-ups. We are reintroducing a continuing evolution throughout our lives. That means that every day you come to a CrossFit box with a good coaching program, you're going to spend time getting better at something, at moving, okay? In this portion, our coach is going to give you specific instructions to make you better at whatever exercise we're focusing on that day. If it's a back squat, you're going to receive some one-on-one attention on improving your own back squat, and you're going to be working on a general overall theme. So today, the focus of our back squat is to start with your knees out, or we're going to work on better anterior pelvic tilt, push your hips back. If your goal is just, I want to lose weight and get fit, it's still important to do this stuff. You need muscle mass so that your metabolism gets driven up. You need to be stronger. You need to be good at squatting so that when you're 99 years old and you're about to attend your 100-year birthday party, you can still get down and up off the toilet ahead of time so you can have extra coffee, okay? So we spend time on skill work, and that leads into strength work, okay? We wire first and we fire second. So a newcomer to Catalyst is going to work on strength with PVC. Doesn't sound like they're getting stronger, but just using their body weight, they can actually get better at doing squats first and get stronger until the point when we need to add resistance. Now that said, we have 400 and 500 pound squatters at Catalyst. We have women who can squat 200, 250 pounds, but they started with a piece of PVC. They learned the mechanics first. And that is how you get safe. From there, we have what we call a WOD briefing. If you're new to CrossFit, a WOD means workout of the day, okay? And good for you for getting this far in the video. A WOD briefing tells you why. What is the point of doing what we're about to do? How's it going to benefit me? Okay? Not how's it going to make me better at CrossFit, how is it going to give me the result that I want? That could be fat loss, that could be getting faster at my marathon time, that could be getting stronger, it could be getting more powerful for hockey. Okay? What is this workout going to do to benefit me? And your coach will tell you. Then we move into Metcon, which is short for metabolic conditioning. We alternate Metcon through the week. So Mondays and Tuesdays, when the demand on our central nervous system is higher from that strength work, you're going to see shorter Metcon, okay? 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes max, okay? In fact, we'll stop you at 20 minutes if you're not done. That Metcon is the fun part, okay? It feels like a game. I'm going to say something like, I want you to do 10 squats, and then I want you to walk on your hands to the other end of the room, and then I want you to do 20 box jumps, okay? It feels like a game. How many times can you get through that? That's where CrossFit really shines. People are having fun. They feel like they're playing on a team. We've got a clock going. You're keeping score, okay? That's what makes the workout fun. It makes you work harder, and it's more effective almost just for that reason, okay? On Wednesday, because the demand on our central nervous system is so low, our metabolic demand is going to be much higher. You're going to do more exercises. The workout's going to go longer. You're going to have a good warm-up, but then you're going to get right into it without skill work and without specific strength work. Can you last until the end? Okay. On Thursdays and Fridays, the metabolic work is going to be a little bit lower. The demands for creating a lot of force or power through Olympic lifting are very high, okay? A lot of people, after they do an Olympic lifting session, they go home and they want to take a nap, and that's their central nervous system being fatigued. On those days, we're going to focus primarily on anaerobic work, okay? So what we're going to do is take you up to your aerobic threshold when you can't metabolize energy aerobically anymore, which means you're going to be out of breath. We're going to do a 7 or 8 minute challenging workout. The weights might be heavier, so maybe you have to do Valsalva more, hold your breath, and then your breathing has to super compensate, you know. But those workouts are not designed to just burn, you know, mass energy, mass calories, where Wednesday would be. That's Thursday, Friday. We're also going to spend more time on mobility on those days because it's the end of the week. You've got a lot of waste products, you know, maybe pooling and VMO, and we got to get that out of there. Saturday again, highly aerobic, low skill, lots of fun. We're going to partner you up with somebody, put you on a team. A coach might be your captain. Everybody will contribute no matter what your experience or fitness level. Okay? Sunday, we're really focused on fun. We do a few hours of open gym. People come in and do their homework from their specialty group or personal trainer. And we pick one of the main workouts from CrossFit.com and put that on Sunday for people to try. Okay? So what goes in here? Given that the total of the strength work and metabolic work should create an equal demand, okay, every day, how do we fill the space? More strength work, less metabolic work. Monday, Tuesday, almost no strength or skill, all metabolic work. Wednesday, I'm going to call that speed or power or force. Metabolic work, pure metabolic work, wild card. Okay? What does that mean for you? Some people come to Catalyst every day. What that means is that on the metabolic days, slow down a little bit. Okay? Do extra recovery work. Some days just come in and do mobility. Get ready for the next day. The best plan is still to go 3 days on, 1 day off. And so if you break down this week in a graphic format like this, what you can see is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is a fantastic plan. If you skip Thursday, you can still come Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday. A lot of us want to go 5 days in the week. What I'd recommend is this. Monday, Tuesday, day off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay? Because then you've got another day off on Sunday here. And that's my own preferred method. Whatever way you do it, you're still going to get all the benefits because you've got 2 strength days to build muscle mass, drive your metabolism, to firm up your skeletal system. You've got a hard metabolic day, okay, just massive energy burning. You've got, if you miss those 3 days, you're still getting improved rate of force development, coordination, strength, and speed from these 2 days and a metabolic work on Saturday, okay? If you can come Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, fine. You're still going to get a lot of benefit. If you can come 4 days or 5 days, even better, okay? This is how we program our workouts. So let's look at one of these workouts. We'll take any given Monday, and we'll see how programming a workout fits into this timeline. All right. We want to work with the philosophies of progressive overload when we're looking at strength. Okay, this is what was popular through the late 70s with Arthur Jones and his machines. You know, you would do like sets of 12, 10, 8. It's still what goes on in most global gyms. Okay, a very, very basic level of knowledge of progressive overload. Those rep schemes, though. They'll get touted in a fitness mag as like the best to burn off belly fat and also the best to build muscle. Lose weight, build muscle, exact same rep scheme. Okay, that doesn't make logical sense. Instead, what we're after is weights that make you stronger without making you gain a lot of extra muscle, unless you want to, and then we're going to change things a little bit, okay? Most of us don't. Most of us want like a big power to mass ratio. I want to be able to deadlift 3 times my body weight. And increasing my body weight is only going to make lifting triple that much harder, okay? So if we take a given Monday, warm up. 5 minutes. Specific warm up and skill. 10 minutes. Okay, at this point, you're warming up specifically for a particular movement, and you're practicing that movement probably with PVC, plastic pipe. Strength. 15 minutes. If you went to a global gym and your strength program, well, it was a Monday, so you're probably doing chest and triceps, you're not going to get done in 15 minutes. That's how efficient our strength work is. And that's how much our metabolic work helps our strength work. We don't have to do a 2-hour, go to the water fountain, do a set of 12, go to the water fountain, talk about Seinfeld, do a set of 10. We don't have to do that. Okay, we're much more efficient with our time. We also train more like a powerlifter does. We choose the stuff that's going to give you the most bang for your buck. We make it challenging enough to actually give you the stimulus, okay, and then reap the benefit after that. So, I would program on week 1, maybe squats, 5 sets of 5. On week 2, 5 sets of 3. Week 3, maybe I'd give you a couple of chances to hit a new max or hit a couple of singles. And then the next week I'd have an easier week, 3 sets of 10. Our easy recovery week is typically done by a lot of gyms as their whole strength portion. So when we say that your workout is our warm-up, what we're really referring to is the intensity, not the duration, not the volume. Okay? And then we get into Metcon. Now, because this is a central nervous system dominated strength portion, we also need some repetition. So we're going to reinforce good movement patterns, and we need the reps, frankly, just to fatigue the muscle and give it reason to supercompensate. Okay, enough stress that it can come back stronger. So in my Metcon on Monday, there's going to be some kind of squat variation. Okay, it doesn't literally mean a squat. It could be any kind of knee flexion extension or hip flexion extension. It could be a deadlift. It could be a kettlebell swing. It could be a glute ham raise. Okay, you get the idea. Tuesday, when we're doing more of an upper body strength day, the rest of the template looks the same. Let's say that we're doing push press. The first week we do 5 by 5. The second week we might do 5 by 3, and then we might give you a couple of attempts at a new max. Okay, that's fun. Our Metcon is going to feature an upper body push or an upper body pull in there somewhere. That could be push-ups. Burpees might fit in there too. It could be a press, dumbbells. It could be pull-ups. Lots of pull-ups in CrossFit. Okay? Later in the week, when we get into cleans, snatches, high skill, higher speed, lower weight, this Metcon is going to get shortened considerably. Okay? Because we don't want to just drive you into the ground. But Monday, Tuesday, you're going to do 15 to 20 minutes. It's typically going to be how many rounds of this can you do within this time span to make sure everybody finishes together, or it's going to be scale so that you can finish at the same time as everybody else, okay? That way nobody's left running up and down the road while everybody else sits and waits for them. So scaling is another conversation. Even though this looks like we've got a high-level athletic training, if you're just beginning your fitness pursuit, or if you're just starting CrossFit, you're going to hear the phrase, live like an athlete. We want to adapt the habits and the lifestyles of the people whose body type we admire, whose physical skills and prowess we admire, and we're going to follow in their footsteps. So somebody who is 700 pounds can still do these workouts. Their squat might be 5 sets of 5 like this. That's fine. If somebody is 5 years old, their workouts are going to be different because their attention span will be different, but they could do 5 sets of 5 bodyweight squats, right? If you've never worked out before, we're going to spend that 15 minutes working on squatting, making you move better, so that you can get down off the floor and stand back up. Is that going to hurt the next day? It will, but that is the appropriate stimulus for you at that time, okay? That's how we work our macrocycle for the year, our mesocycle, which is, you know, a week's worth of programming, and this is our microcycle, how we break down 60 minutes to give you a workout that's better than a week at a Globo gym.